Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you. The discontinuation of a nameplate on the U.S. market coupled with its continued use overseas is not all that rare. Sometimes an automaker drops a name entirely and years later is too ashamed of the past to bring it back in the U.S. or anywhere else. This is why we haven't seen the Pinto, Vega, Chevette or many other Malaise-Era nameplates make a comeback. But sometimes an out-of-favor nameplate works well on the other side of the globe, the same way 80s metal bands went on to have a second life in Eastern Europe in the 2000s, selling out stadiums in places like Prague, Kiev, and St. Petersburg. Which brings us to the fact the Chevrolet Cavalier is alive and well, in China, where it returned in 2016 as a compact sedan aimed at the Ford Escort, which is also enjoying a second life there as a slightly different focus. The current generation Cavalier shares the Delta II platform with the Global Cruise, but the Cavalier is positioned a little differently in the Chinese domestic market, sitting just below the Cruise sedan but above the Chevrolet Sail sedan, which is an even smaller sedan developed by Shanghai GM on its own platform. The Cavalier is offered with a 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine producing 107 horsepower and 103 pounds-to-foot of torque, paired with the choice of a 5-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic. When it comes to design, the Cavalier is distinct enough from the larger and plusher Cruise, featuring a large intake below the slim grille with the body badge, a sculpted hood surface with the nod to Chevy's more potent offerings and headlights that take some inspiration from the Cruise. If you squint hard enough, you can kind of see the profile of the Cruise within this sedan. And if one drove past you on some rural road in Ohio, you probably wouldn't notice it. It's generic Chevrolet design. In company literature, a lot of emphasis is placed on one feature in the Cavalier, a fine particulate matter air filter. The Cavalier comes standard with the PM2.5 fine particulate matter air filter that traps and filters out more than 99% of pollutants ranging in size from 0.3 mm to 10.0 mm. 2018 Chevrolet Cavalier front filters are more of an issue in the bigger cities on China's east coast than in the country's western region or the lush south. But there's something that drivers in China have to pay attention to. Are we likely to see the Cavalier make a comeback in the U.S.? Don't expect the Cavalier to make a comeback in the U.S., even though the model is offered in Mexico. As all automakers dial down sedan production for the U.S., we'll be lucky, so to speak, to have just one Chevy-badged four-door car a decade from now, and it probably won't be summoning images of the Cavaliers of the 1990s. Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you.